Just as coal fueled the economy of our developing nation, it further fueled
our dinosaur exhibit
from the rich anthracite
like realistic, it has much plants.
to the bituminous deposits of the Midwest.
Did you contact him yet? That's right, you were
Talked about the bad air, the cold, damp.
Thank you.
How his body ached from being bent over, being on his knees. What Uncle Bill.
So how much are these like special? No, I mean, I've never seen it yet.
Pardon me. Brought up here in 1933 to be the first exhibit in this museum. So step before the man cave, head on this. Alright, so pardon me, I'm just gonna get my arm over here. Alright, so you're probably wondering, why did I call this elevator a man cage? Well, when this was still in use for Old Ben 17, it had no walls and it had no ceiling. All the miners had on their way down were these chains held up by 4 posts. Now the taller miners would hold onto the chains and create a cage of men around the shorter miners. Now that means they also didn't have any lights. So they went down in pure darkness. And Old Ben was about 200 feet below ground. So it took about 15 minutes or so to get into the mine. Luckily for you guys, the museum's nice. We added on the walls, the ceiling, and gave you lights. Oh, and we cut the time down to about a minute. Yes. Now, the #1 rule of a man cage is to stand very still. So, if you're standing still, everything's good. If you start bumping into your neighbors, remember there's no wall there. You're bumping them into a mine shaft wall. And that's where we get the phrase, getting the shaft. Come on, follow me out, you guys. Alright, so keep stepping on up, you guys. Alright, so keep coming this way. We want to make sure that we use all this space. Alright guys, even in the middle here, come on up. Want to make sure that you're all able to see here. Wow, you guys are really timid. Come over here. There you go. Now we're looking over here to my left. This is the Rotary dump machine. This is how miners got paid in the early 1900s. Every day, a miner came down into the coal mine and got their own cart. They had to fill that cart with 2,000 pounds of coal by the end of the day in order to get paid. If they made that goal, congratulations! They earned 17 to 75 cents. Woo! So much money. Now the rotary dump here is going to weigh our coal and then rotate and dump it all out. If it's so kind. There it goes. Now sometimes guests will ask me, well, what about inflation? Was 17 cents in the early 1900s a good gig? It might have been, I don't know. But miners were not paid in actual money. They were paid in something called script, and that could only be used at the coal miner's store to buy things like food, medicine, and clothes. So it's like working at Target and being paid in Target gift cards. Sounds okay, till they jack the prices up on you. So that 17 cents does not go a long way. But before miners could even think about coming down into the mine and getting paid, they had to go through 40 hours of safety training. So I hope you guys brought your snacks because we're going to get ours started. Lead the way up those stairs.
Go down to go up. To go up. we go up? Oh, that's true.
Alright, so I want you guys to face the bar over here. Now don't get too excited, because I can't serve you anything. Remember, we're all miners. Yeah, guys, get used to puns, it's not going to get any better. Get closer over here. Now, miners had to go through 40 hours of safety training before they could work in a coal mine. Luckily for us, we don't have time for that. So we're going to get this done in about 5 minutes or so. Now we're going to talk about another danger in the coal mine. We're going to talk about the danger of gas. I say another like we talked about one before. We definitely did not. So we're going to talk about the danger of gas. There are two types we worry about in the coal mine. The number one gas is carbon monoxide, and number two is methane. Now, since we can't naturally see or smell these gases, we need tricks of the trade to let us know if there's a danger in the air. The fun facts about carbon monoxide is that it's very light. So it rises up to the ceiling, and that's why we have those cages up there. Any idea what goes in them? Canaries. Canary birds, yeah. Canary in the coal mine, that's a real thing. See, canaries are songbirds, and as long as they keep chirping, I keep on working. But if I look up and see my bird giving me a double hand high five, I know it's time to get out, because that means there's too much carbon monoxide in the air. But do you guys think miners were the best pet owners? No, they were not. They forgot to feed their birds, and what happens then? They die, yeah. They give you that double hand high five either way. So if I look up and see that signal from my bird, I evacuate, because I assume there's gas in the air. But if there's no gas and I evacuated just because I forgot to give the bird some berries, well, I lost a whole day's worth of pay for no good reason. Ah, shucks, you guys, that's 17 cents down the drain, never to be seen again. So we need something more reliable. Nowadays, we have carbon monoxide detectors. If you look on up over here, you'll see one now. It should look familiar because you guys have them at home too. But the other gas, methane, it's not very light. So we need another method to detect it. In 1815, we got this. It's the Davy safety lamp. It's named after Sir Humphrey Davy, a very smart man who knew that different gases could change the color of fire. Now, what fire do you guys see here? Yeah, we got some nice yellow, some orange, a little bit of blue in the center where it's the hottest. Well, that means the air in here is safe for us to breathe. Woo! Miners would wear this on their vest, and if that fire turned completely blue, they knew it was time to get out of the mine, because that meant there was too much methane gas in the air. Well, the fun fact about methane is that it's a combustible gas. So, usually flame and methane don't work together. But Sir Humphrey Davy found a way around that. See, he invented the mesh here. That mesh is the real invention. That's what allows gas to get in and not let the fire out. But do you guys see anything wrong with it? Shout out if you do. Yeah, there's a hole in it right over here by my finger. So you guys can see it plain as day because you're looking straight at it. But remember, I'm wearing this down here on my vest, so I might not notice the hole at all. And now this has become a danger. So we're going to find out exactly what happens to a broken Davy safety lamp once it comes into contact with methane. Do me a favor, make sure all your miner toes are behind those yellow lines. Now we're going to be looking over here at this wooden box. It's called a coffin. That's not foreshadowing. But if you guys need to, squish on into the center so that you can see this little window here. Alright. Safety goggles for me. What a lovely explosion. Wouldn't expect anything less from a combustible gas, right? But remember, I wear this on my vest. So if this thing explodes on my vest, I'm miner pants on fire. Oh no. Which means the Davy safety lamp is not very safe. So, in the 1960s, we got this. It's the pocket methanometer. It does not use fire. It takes a gauge of the air right inside of here and lets you know how much methane is in it right here. Now, miners had a rhyme to help them remember how much methane meant safe and how much meant dangerous. And for you guys to complete your safety training, you have to complete my rhyme. Want to give it a good old-fashioned miner try?
Sure.
Yeah, enthusiasm, I love it. So, 0.9 means everything is?
Fine.
2.0, we gotta?
Go.
And 5.0, that mining's gone?
Whoa.
Congratulations, you completed 40 hours of training in 5 minutes flat. Give yourself a big round of applause. I'm going to cut my way through here. Now that you are all certified miners, I'm going to put you to work. So we're going to go to the working part of the mine, and we're going to take the man trip to do it. Come on, you wing up. Now, you guys, you can go in the front car, back car, either car, it doesn't matter. They both go to the same place, usually. Now you might be wondering, man trip, man cave.
Front car.
Is it a credit?
It's a credit. It's a credit. It's a credit. Coast credit. It's not gravity powered. What are you doing? Where am I? There's no taking pictures of the mine. It's not gravity powered stuff.
Now I hope you all like going fast. This bad boy has a top speed of 4 miles per hour. Woo! All aboard!
Dude, is this local smoke?
Technique. Once the coal has been removed from the working section of the mine, about the size of a large room, the roof bolting machine, designed and built by FMC Corporation, drills holes into the ceiling. A bolt is anchored into the stronger sandstone above the coal seam to hold the roof in place. This drilling pattern provides a safer area in which miners can work. Without this safeguard, the roof might sag and eventually collapse. FMC roof bolting provides a safer and more permanently secure environment than former methods of roof support.
So many mining puns, I love it. I feel like I'm on the jungle. I didn't know there was such a thing as mining.
All the way down.
You got a new group of miners for us.
Yeah, it's a big group, and they all seem very strong, which is good.
Excellent.
Because I no longer wish to work. Welcome to our 1930s room. Now, all these machines you see in here were invented in the 1930s to replace hand tools like this. Anyone know what this is called?
Pickaxe.
Pickaxe, yeah. So I'm going to pass the pickaxe along. If you can just hold it underneath the metal, it's more for the pickaxe and safety for your own, but there you go. And how's that feel? Kind of heavy? Yeah, so miners had to work with pickaxes and shovels for about 14 to 18 hours a day in order to get 2,000 pounds of coal. It's a really long time. But luckily in the 1930s, they no longer had to do that. Instead, they got a yellow machine like this one. This machine right here is called the undercutter, and it replaces the pickaxe. So if it's called an undercutter, where do you guys think it's gonna cut? It's gonna cut over. It's gonna cut underneath the coal wall. So it makes a gap that runs across the bottom of the coal seam. Once we have that gap in place, we bring out this blue machine up top. It's called the face drill. We drill holes into the face of the coal wall and then put in sticks of dynamite. Great idea, right? So the sticks of dynamite blast apart the coal wall, and then the gap gives the coal a place to fall. Once the coal is on the ground, we have to clean it up. But we're not going to use a shovel, we're going to use the Joy loader behind you. It's named after the Joy company and uses those big meaty claws to load up our coal into our carts so we can later take it to the Rotary dump. And that one's my favorite because it reminds me of a lobster. Now I'm going to turn these machines on one by one, starting with the undercutter. So you guys scooch on up so you can get a little closer to the chainsaw down there. You want to be able to see that chainsaw rotate. If you still can't see it, no worries, look up. That mirror will show you the same thing. Now it is going to get a little loud. So if you don't like loud noises, just cover your ears. So in 3, 2, 1. Miners could only get 60% of the mine's coal in the 1930s. And that's because of a method called room and pillar method. You're standing in the room, and behind me is our pillar. This is 40% of our coal being used to hold up the ceiling so we don't have a cave-in or an accident. But to safely exit the mine, we are leaving 40% of our coal behind. And that does not sit well with the miners. They want more of this coal, and they want it safely. So come follow me, we'll see what they came up with to accomplish their goal. Now for all you taller miners, you're going to want to mind your head.
Got it. Right.
Transformers, more than So welcome to the 1960s room. This machine behind me was invented in the 1960s, and it's called the longwall machine. So wouldn't you guess it, it's going to make a long wall. Now the most important fact about the longwall machine is that it gets 90% of our coal. It gets 90% because of this. It's called the canopy. It's a hydraulic lift that holds up the ceiling, so we no longer use coal to do that anymore. Meanwhile, this arm right here is called the shear. It comes forwards and backwards, grinding up layers and layers of coal off of the wall, and makes that long wall. Now once enough coal has been taken from the wall, the canopy will actually extend itself and then pull the rest of its body forward so it can continuously go through the mine. But if it's holding up the ceiling and moving forward, what's happening to the ceiling behind it? It's caving in, yeah, it's collapsing. So all that is just going to fall down. So once this machine gets 90% of our coal, we leave it down here. We say it's too much money and too much effort to dig it out and bring back up to the surface. Now, do you guys think miners pay a lot or a little bit for this machine? A lot is correct. They pay about $25 to $300 million per longwall machine. Ouch. That's a whole lot of money for something we leave in the dirt, right? But see, miners, they're very smart, and they know not to mass produce these machines. So Illinois currently has 4 longwall machines at work. Just 4. Less than most any state in the U.S. has. And Illinois is the 5th ranked producer of coal in the U.S. We're number 5, you guys. That means bragging rights. So somewhere along the way, we actually make a profit. That's all. Now, do you guys have any questions about this machine or anything else you have seen on the tour so far?
Where does Indiana rank on coal?
Say that one more time.
Where does Indiana rank on coal?
Oh, okay. They are not They might be top 10. I have a chart in the next room.
Are they higher than Illinois?
No.
What about Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania is actually number 4. They recently beat us. I'm not bitter. So it's Pennsylvania's number 4, Kentucky is number 3, West Virginia is number 2, and anyone want to take a guess as to which state's number 1? It's Wyoming. Yeah, all their coal is very close to the surface, so they can strip it. So it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper for them to go and get it. Ours is all about 200 feet down or deeper. It's a lot more effort. All right, any more questions?
How did they supply power to all these machines?
Great questions. Yeah, so we had generators down here. We still have them today, but even back in the 1930s, we had a more primitive form of the generators we have today. Now, I am more of a historical tour guide, so I don't know exactly how that works, but I do know they were generators. All right. Any more? Yeah.
Isn't there a coal mine that's like continuously on fire?
Yeah!
Centralia.
Centralia, Pennsylvania. So that was set on fire in 1962. It's still on fire today, and it's predicted to burn for 200 to 300 more years. Now, luckily, that was not a coal miner accident. There actually were no coal miners there during the time, but they were burning a landfill fire. They were burning something in a landfill not too far away, and something from that fire actually got down one of the shafts and just set the entire thing on fire. And they actually had to evacuate the entire town because the ground became too hot for people to live on. Apparently some people still live there. I don't know.
I think it's 6.
Yeah. Life choices. All right. I'm going to turn this machine on. We'll bask in the glory and head on to our final round. There are a few states that just don't produce any coal, so they're kind of even.
Washington is the last one.
Because all the states are definitely not listed there. Like, I know, I'm pretty sure Alaska doesn't produce any coal. All right, guys, I'm going to pass out a few pieces of coal. That is bituminous that you're holding there, and don't worry, you're not going to get black lung. We did spray it down with a chemical sealant. Come on in, you guys. There's plenty of space. All right, so this is our modern day control room. Now I'm going to use the word modern a little loosely, because if you look up top, you will see a floppy disk drive. Now, this control panel is the reason why being a coal miner in the U.S. is one of the safest jobs you can have today. This is found above ground, so miners are constantly monitoring everything that happens in the coal mine. If they see anything dangerous or suspicious, they'll hit the emergency stop button. That'll sound the alarm and tell everyone it's time to get out of the coal mine. Now on this TV screen, this left one, we have the longwall machine at work. That is a much larger model than the one we have here. Longwalls can get up to 3 to 4 football fields long. So longwall keeps on going. In the middle, we have the face drill, and it's actually using compressed air to blast apart the wall instead of a stick of dynamite, which is much safer than sticks of dynamite. It's much safer for the miners. And on the right TV screen, we have the continuous miner. Now that does basically the same thing as the longwall machine, but looks a little funkier. Now, like I said, Illinois is the 5th ranked producer of coal in the U.S. And if you guys turn around and see that map of Illinois, you'll see why. All that green is untapped coal in Illinois. We've got enough to last 200 to 250 more years at the rate we're going. Now all those dark red spots are around the middle section. Those are active coal mines. They're still open and working. Purple means closed coal mines. And those little blue squares are our power plants, where we send our coal to make energy like our lights. About 30% of Illinois' energy still comes from coal. But we also get a lot of benefits from the byproducts of coal too. So raise your hands, who brushed your teeth this morning? I'm so proud of you guys. If you brushed your teeth this morning, you put a byproduct of coal in your mouth this morning as well. Byproducts of coal go into making toothpaste. Ooh, ever heard of the brand Colgate? Colgate, get it. I don't think that's true, but I still like it. Now let's see here, what about things like Cheetos, Doritos, or Twinkies? Do you guys ever indulge in those?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Byproducts of coal go into those as well, into the food dye. And if you guys go up to the experience today, you'll see a Twinkie that's about 6 years old. Still looks fresh as a daisy because it has 9 byproducts of coal inside of it. Yum. If you're wearing tennis shoes, the bottom of your shoes include byproducts of coal. This floor right here includes byproducts of coal. Cologne, perfume, aspirin, fertilizer, concrete, paint. All these things include byproducts of coal. So even if we had enough wind, solar, or nuclear energy, we might not be likely to give up coal mining. Because let's be honest, who's giving up their Cheetos? I know I'm not. Now I have one last thing on this tour for you all. It's personally my favorite. It's these 2 black and white pictures. These are the last coal miners of Old Bend. And usually what would happen when a coal mine closed down, especially back in the early 1900s, was that the main or only source of income for that town closed with it. But when Old Bend was brought up here from Johnston City, Illinois, to right here to be the very first exhibit in this museum, we brought them with. And they were the original tour guides. They were the original me! How cool is that? Alright guys, so that is the end of my tour, but if you have any more questions, I'll be here for a few more minutes. If not though, this is the only coal mine where you exit down and fly the stairs, come back to the cafeteria, and grab yourself some coleslaw. Thank you guys.
So do all the closed down lines mean that they got all the coal from there, or they just closed?
Depends on what's happening during that time. So for a lot of them, it could be that they ran out of money, that the mining company ran out of money. Could be that they didn't have the technology at the time to continue to get more of that coal because it could be cheaper. Or it could be that they did get all the coal out.
So, is there any laws with mine subsidence that they deal with here? Like, how do they reinforce the mines to make sure under town it's not gonna...
So, I'm not completely sure about the laws, but I know that if you live anywhere near that green, you have to have subsidence insurance in case something does go wrong underneath you. Because if something subsides 200 feet down, it's going to take about 4 to 5 feet with you on top level. So, even people living in Peoria, which is a pretty metropolitan area, still have to have subsidence insurance because they are surrounded by the green. And even if you own the land on the surface, you might not own the land underneath.